Hi, I'm Kelly Rowlett-Presgrave. I'm president and CEO of Work With Your Hands, and we are so proud to be a sponsor of Power Women of the Trades podcast. You can reach us at workwithyourhands.com. Kelly at workwithyourhands.com is my email.
At Relentless Digital, we believe in breaking barriers and driving innovation. That's why we are extremely proud to sponsor the Power Women of the Trades podcast, supporting the voices and success of women in the home service industry. Together, we're creating a future where talent shines regardless of gender and diversity thrives. Join our journey at relentless-digital.com and always be relentless in your pursuit of excellence.
This episode of Power Women of the Trades is also brought to you by Forrest Perry of Forrest Perry Digital Marketing. Want to generate more leads for your service business? Trust his team to deliver quality new customer leads and protect your brand online. Check out perrymarketing.com today.
Chirp, the ultimate automation toolbox for home service businesses. Chirp helps you capture more leads, connect faster, close more deals, and create customers for life. Through text message, email, and ringless voicemail automation, Chirp can help you transform your customer's experience. Learn more in the show notes below.
Welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast. This show is all about breaking barriers and changing the game. Our guests will feature some of today's most successful female entrepreneurs and other advocates of our industry as well. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, female-led entrepreneurship drives change on multiple levels. We want to empower women in the trade industry like you so you can maximize your potential, stay balanced, achieve long-term success, and claim ownership over your life. Let's get started.
Hey, welcome to Power Women of the Trades podcast with Cassie and Leslie. Today we have Kaylee, who has been kind of like the podcast assistant. She works for quality and she's helped us from the get-go. And so we're kind of scared about what this is going to be like.
She's
she's going to ask us some questions.
Ad-libbing.
We're ad-libbing.
Is that what it is, ad-libbing?
I think it's ad-libbing, yeah. And so this could get very interesting, Kaylee.
Yeah, so we're just going to do some rapid fire questions to get to know Cassie and Leslie a little bit better and kind of recap this year so far with the podcast. So let's get started. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
We also need to definitely talk about the nice messages we've got on social media. Like I feel
we
like
have so many things to talk about.
I want to read those because I think it's
we
important.
should have brought those so we could, like, you know how they do on one of those shows?
I screenshot them.
Oh. So
because we get so much hate from within that we have to really capture the moments when we get support. So
maybe, Kaylee, what's your first question?
So our first question is, what is one word to sum up this year's content so far?
Oh, one word.
Powerful. I think powerful.
Eclectic.
I can barely say that word, so it's not normally a word I choose.
There was a lot of variety, and that was important to me.
Yeah.
I like the variety we had, and it was kind of like our brains.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next question. Which episode made you laugh the hardest this year?
I don't ever laugh externally on these. I don't know. I usually black out when we do them.
I have to go back because I am so ADHD.
Probably the first ones we did at AHR when
we were
I said
so
something.
Clueless.
Well, I said the dumbest thing ever in our very first one we did live, and I think I referenced like the founders of our country and plumbing. And I don't know how I made that connection. I can't remember. There was a lot happening around me, but
the AHR ones were, because that's what I had to do. I was like trying to pull up some of our episodes because the AHR one was those ones were funny because we were so out of our element. We had no clue what we were doing, but
we were like, let's just do this and see what happens.
And then we were like
at the biggest convention
and like running Oh, that was a good
With
time.
our suitcases, yeah.
That was a good
all
time.
throughout.
Which guest surprised you guys the most?
I want to say Mary Jean, not because I knew she was a badass,
Oh, but like she was.
but like she's a badass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
She was awesome.
so I knew she was that amazing, but like she's just, that was
What
like
she had been through and how she built it and where she is
like,
now.
I remember her being
Yeah.
like saying she was $1 million in debt, and then like it's just crazy to hear those things, and like I think that's so relatable too for people.
For us, because we talk about that.
Yeah, debt.
Debt.
Name a topic that you covered that you knew the least about before you had the episode.
You know, I just know so much about everything. It's hard. It's hard to decide.
I think for me was a D.
Oh yeah, for
Because
sure.
she talks so much about processes, which I think I know about processes, but she really like talking about like putting them into play and like the accountability of them and things like that. Like
She's so good.
she is. And I still think I know, like, I'm not willing to say I don't know about processes. No, I do know, but you know, like she just put them into a perspective for me that I had never considered.
She's great.
She is good.
What's one behind the scenes moment that our listeners would find hilarious?
We're a hot freaking mess.
I think
All of-
probably how often I have to get up and move around between these episodes.
we record like 5 a day when we record, and Leslie is so antsy.
I got ants in my pants and I have to move around.
We have to stop on the way here. We did not do that. Well, we tried today. On the way here, we tried to stop and get her a Coke so she could make it. And but she only likes canned Coke, and they didn't have a freaking canned Coke. And so
It's got to be crispy.
But I think just like
A lot of
it.
Well, for sure, because it's such a small space. Like, I feel like our industry is a small space. So when we interview people in a professional manner, a lot of times there's like just behind the scenes commentary that's probably not safe for work, but funny and will add color.
Yeah.
Which episode do you think had the biggest impact on our listeners?
Okay, I think this could go all over the place, but because I think everyone I'm going through, like, this is how I have to do things because I'm going through everything, but I think Michelle Myers.
I was just getting ready to say hers because it was so relational for us.
And like we were crying, she's crying, everyone's crying. There's just a lot of beauty in all that.
Yeah.
There was just like
There was some wisdom in that.
she just has
She's so
such a
good.
story, and she can just like pull stuff out of you. That's good.
Which topic do you think we should dive deeper into next year?
I mean, I think it's really important, you know, for Cassie and I and our journey together as business owners and on the podcast. Like, this is fluid all the time. The way that the industry has changed, I think we have to talk about the impact of, and we touch on it, like private equity in our market, and not to say it's good or bad, but just to stay educated and bring more people into those conversations, because it doesn't need to be kept in the dark. And really, I think for me, this is what I like. I love to hear about how other owners have used the trades to build wealth and generational wealth it's not necessarily trade related, because commercial real estate is a passion of mine and just other things. So that part, how we build wealth, and then how we stay emotionally healthy as owners.
Yeah. And I think the female relationships would be a good one. Yeah, that's a big can of worms. But there's things that, like,
It is a can of
the
worms.
whole thing of, like, our whole point, I keep looking at the logo, like, the whole point of the podcast, but then sometimes, like, women can be our own problems, and the journey that we've had to, I think that might open up to another question I know you're going to ask of our critics. Some of our critics and the hate that we've gotten from this podcast that have come from women.
Yeah.
That's rough.
most businesses' online presence is boring. And by being boring, they're losing out on potential sales and customers. Being interesting and exciting is what draws customers in and gets them to buy from you. But it's hard to be interesting online when you're focused on running your business and taking care of your customers. It doesn't have to be this way. We have the key to unlocking the solution to your problem. Key Heart Marketing can help take your business from boring to brilliant on social media. We can vouch for them. They run our podcast socials. If you want to have a strong social media presence that allows customers to know, like, and trust you, connect with Key Heart Marketing at keyheartmarketing.com.
You know, we can't get into specifics, but just the criticism we faced from day one of people we thought would support us, and then into it, people we thought would support us, and then people we didn't really know, and how, like, here's the deal, y'all. It is not our job to make sure you're okay with our podcast.
Yeah. And
until you pay the light bill, the studio bill, pay Jimmy, pay Rita, all that, it doesn't matter. We appreciate your feedback, but you just don't get to put things on us that have nothing to do with us, or tell us what we need to be doing that we aren't
or
doing.
We're not doing a good job at it, or we're doing, like, that's been wild. That's probably been the most wild thing to me, is like the opinions of women of telling us that we suck, literally. Yeah. Some of our biggest supporters are men.
Yeah.
That's the raw and the real and the truth. And, like, we're trying so hard to, like, bring light into women doing really great jobs, but then our biggest critics have been women.
We're not doing enough, or we're not doing it the right way. And I think that's just a lesson. I think
that's a lesson that women can take in every aspect of their life. Like, what are you doing that kind of is not conducive to healthy female relationships?
Yeah.
Daily.
I don't, there's so many ways to go on that. And that's probably a
That's a whole episode.
Yeah.
Well, not just touchy, but, like, you know, the comments, the private messages, the TikTok comments, the things that are just like, what? Wow. And maybe the guys that have podcasts that deal with the same types of things, they probably do. But I think for us, it's just been, like, really sad to see it when it's, like, female led. But
if you could have any guest, dead or alive, next year, who would it be?
Oh my! Does it have to be trade related?
I don't think so.
Ooh,
yeah. I would have Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Who is that?
Yeah.
So he was a German pacifist, and he was a pastor. And during was it World War II, that he had to, like, really reconcile his faith and protecting people of the Jewish faith about what was happening and how it infiltrated, like, even their churches. So I know that has nothing to do with this,
I think that's still, like, really cool, because I think there's a way to relate so many conversations back to what we're doing.
Faith.
But I think for me, alive would be John Maxwell, just because I would love to just talk to him. And there would be, like, I would want him to just talk to us.
Did you do his class? Didn't you do his leadership class?
I've done a lot of his classes. I haven't signed up for that stuff.
I haven't. I probably need to.
He's just got so much wisdom.
Yep.
Wisdom.
Do you have an episode that you find yourself referencing in your daily life?
I think I reference a lot of the episodes regularly, and I know our team has heard me say, and Kaylee works for Quality, so, like, I know she's heard me say, like, we just talked about this on the podcast, or we just did this. I don't know if anyone's ever, like, noticed. I take notes. I haven't since we've moved over, like, to this set, but I take a lot of notes because I love being able to take those things back to our team. But is there any, like, specific?
I know that you have.
Yeah, I know.
These are very specific questions.
They are specific.
I mean, we've had so many. I know when you were talking to a D, you took a lot of notes about processes. I know
Coralie Beatty talked a lot about, like, the building businesses and construction, and her feelings of selling the company. And then after, that was a lot of things to like think about. Man, there's so many things. We've talked a lot about our cultures and different cultures in in different companies. There's so many like nuggets that I think have been really good.
Yeah, for sure.
If you could sum up your growth as a host in one sentence, what would it be?
Winning.
I think
This was so far out of me, like, ever wanting to do it. Anything like this, that I feel like for me, just doing it and showing up to do it, whether you think I did a good job or a bad job, personally, just me doing it at all was a win for me.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that we even did it, I already succeeded. I already hit that goal.
Yeah.
No matter what anybody else thought, no matter if we had one sponsor, you know, that was a personal win for me.
Yeah.
And if I try to think, was it a win for others, then it really takes me off my game, because it can't be a win for everyone.
I think but speaking of our sponsors, I think that was a huge piece for me of like, because I second guess everything, and like knowing that these sponsors were like really willing to sponsor us and like believed in us. And that was like so huge for me. Like,
It was encouraging.
It was super encouraging.
And no questions asked. Like, we would send over our package, and everyone picked
the highest
premium
one,
option.
and they're just like, we know that you guys are going to go out there and kill it. And then we
like,
have
wait a
had
second.
we're like, oh, I remember someone asked, one of the first sponsors asked like, so how many listeners do you think you'll have? And we're like, our husbands are positive. We don't know.
That's a great question.
We actually have no clue. Like, we really think this is a good opportunity, but we had no clue, and we didn't then.
Right.
And then we get so much, like, the comments, like, you know, I think it's easiest for us to be, it's human nature to, like, not necessarily focus on the negative, but be, like, put down by the negative. But there's been so much positive that's come from it, too. And people reaching out that, like, we're just helping them find great connections in the industry. That's been so nice to see those messages of,
for
hey,
sure.
I listened to you, and I just signed up to talk to a D, or to help with processes, or I just did this. Like, those things are like the things that when I go to bed at night, I'm thankful for.
Remember, we got that really sweet message from, was it Danielle Laird of Bradford White, and about maternity leave, and just, you know, she sent something so sweet to us.
Well, and like Bradford White put together a whole women's movement, and like we helped inspire that, and that was really cool. Those are the things that are like, it was all meant to be. We were supposed to do this.
This has been Power Women of the Trades. Like what you hear so far? Leave us a review at Apple, and make sure to listen to our other episodes wherever you enjoy listening to your podcasts. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.